Okay, good, we're on. So I just wanted to, following on from my previous talks, I wanted to talk, because it's so fundamental to everything in creativity, to talk about light and dark, which is, I know it's come into all my other talks, but specifically I'd like to talk about chiaroscuro. And it's a lovely word, sounds very romantic, very dramatic word, chiaroscuro. It means light and dark, but what does it really mean? What do we mean by light and dark? Goodness, where do we start with light and dark? It's like right at the beginning. In the beginning there was darkness and then there was light. So everything in painting, when we're working with the tones, is participating in that primordial journey, the journey of the soul back to the light, the journey from darkness towards light. It's like the story of Dante, the Divine Comedy. It's the Pilgrim's Progress. It's in everything. So this journey of darkness towards light, and when we're developing a painting, the way we develop a painting out of this primordial darkness, the darkness isn't just darkness. It's as Goethe said, he argued, he disagreed with Newton. Newton said darkness is just the absence of light, but Goethe understood that darkness contains the light. The light is hidden in the darkness. Darkness cannot exist without its light. Dionysius the Areopagite, he talks about the darkness that is so bright, so dazzling, you can't even look at it. So there's this dual aspect to darkness. Darkness is the primordial wisdom, it's the great mother, it's the goddess, and the essence of darkness is its light, because without light there could be no darkness. The greater the light, the greater the darkness, and vice versa. The greater the darkness, the greater the light. Each begets the other. So this dynamics of darkness and light is so intrinsic to everything. When you have a piece of white paper and you just draw a line, immediately you are working with this primordial dynamics of what happens when the darkness, in this case the darkness, touches upon the light, and in other cases it may be the light touching upon the darkness. It's this primordial dance between the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine. By masculine and feminine I mean the feminine being the wisdom, the darkness, the all-containing, the ground of being, the emptiness out of which everything comes into being, goes back into emptiness again. And the light is that active principle which allows the mystery of the darkness to witness the mystery of its own beauty through coming into time and space. As soon as we make a mark on a piece of paper, we are coming into the realm of time and space. Without that mark, there is just a great emptiness. It's the like I mentioned the other day, it's the tabula rasa, the pure consciousness, and then out of that comes this dynamic dance, the dance of the opposites. So, speaking more specifically then about darkness and light, I mean, this is why we start with a middle tone. In classical painting, in traditional painting, we start with the mid-tone, which is like the drone in Indian music, that constant sound, and out of that constant sound is like the sound, the drone is the sound of the universe, the sound of creation, and then out of that drone comes all the other tones that emerge, the lighter tones, if you like, or the higher tones and the deeper tones, and they're all expressive of the 7 different planets, which correspond to the 7 different centers of energy, the 7 chakras within our body. It's all on one level. Darkness and light is just something, can be a pretty pattern on wallpaper. It means absolutely nothing. But if you look into the deep philosophy, the perennial philosophy that is expressed through all traditional art, there is a secret within all of it, a secret that expresses this divine principle that runs through everything. So when we're working with darkness and light, we are actually participating in these primordial energies, which which belong to us, belong to everything. Without it's our essence, it's who we really are. It's our deepest part of our own being. So, and of course, creation comes out of the deepest part of our own being. There cannot be creation unless we are in touch with that divine creative principle that works within everything and is everywhere and nowhere. It's the center of the circle. It has no time, no space. But as soon as we make a mark with our brush on the canvas, on the paper, we are coming into the world of time and space. And then it's the beginning of the journey of the soul back to the paradise. So that in a nutshell, how are we doing for time? In a nutshell, that is chiaroscuro, the mystery behind chiaroscuro, and the way the old masters developed this principle by developing the darks. Within the darkness, of course, there is always the light. If you don't have the light, the white priming at the base on the canvas, for instance, without that light at the base, then the darkness just goes flat, it goes dead. It hasn't got any depth, it hasn't got any mystery, it's just flat and dead. So the way the darks work is that they're built up in translucent layers, layer upon layer upon layer, gradually going deeper with each layer, but always the light is there, hidden within it. So as I said at the beginning of the talk, the light is hidden within the darkness. Darkness doesn't exist without its light. And then as we develop the lights as well, then we're working more and more into the energy of what is the light, the articulation of being, of coming into being, of form and time and space. So it's this beautiful union with it, which is expressed through the old master paintings, through the classical paintings. I'm thinking now particularly the 16th, 17th century, but of course it goes back a lot earlier than that. But this whole dynamics of translucency in the shadows, as you go more and more into the lights become increasingly opaque. So it's like the lights are symbolic of really fully being born into time and space, into the world, into the world. Okay, and the more you go into the shadows, the more the shadows become more and more ethereal and reflect this inner light, this mystery that lies within the darkness, which relates to the spiritual light, what we call the uncreated light. We have created light, which is the light we bring into the painting as we develop the tones, and we have the primordial uncreated light, which was there since the beginning of time. So it's this beautiful language that we've lost the language since the industrialization. Within the craft practices, there were these sacred teachings. These esoteric teachings were contained within the craft practices, and with the industrialization, all of that went out the window, and we sold our soul to the world of progress, so-called progress, and exploitation, mass production, and it's all about profit and money, and the whole disease set in, and so now we're prisoners of that disease. So anyway, as I said, a short talk. I've got to stop there because I'm going to go beyond my time, and then I won't be able to download it with my internet here. So I will talk again another time, and enjoy your evening.